Hello and I welcome you all to Global News Factory. I'm your host Vikrant. Let's begin today's episode with our favorite clown, Peter Navarro. In India, there is a famous saying about Pakistan. A day without humiliation is a day wasted. These days, the same is being said about Navarro. Every morning he wakes up, logs onto X, and gets publicly roasted by Indians. Not once, not twice, every single day. The man has now collapsed to such a point that he is literally begging Musk to ban these so-called propagandists of the Indian government. Translation? Please save me, I cannot handle spicy memes. And that, my friends, is why Navarro has gone from Trump's economic advisor to India's favorite punching bag. Now, honestly, I don't want to waste your time on this joker. My time is valuable. Your time is valuable. Navarro's time? Not so much. But I will make one exception today because the memes are simply too good to ignore. So, there you go. I hope you enjoyed all these memes as much as Navarro did not. And now it's time to move on to some serious stories of the day. Looks like only one man in Ukraine wants this war to continue. And that man is, of course, Volodymyr Zelensky. Everybody else, soldiers, generals, civilians, they are begging for peace. They want this madness to end. But Zelensky, he is addicted to war, to profits, to limelight, like a gambler who cannot leave the casino even when the chips are gone. Even Ukraine's own army just gave him a massive slap in the face. Ukraine Commander-in-Chief Aleksandr Syrsky admitted what everyone already knew. Russia's army has crushed Kyiv in manpower, in weapons, in morale, in everything. On Monday, Syrsky confessed that August was a disaster for Ukraine. I'm quoting him. The enemy has a threefold advantage in troops and means. In the main areas, they outnumber us 4 to 6 times. Yes, 4 to 6 times. More soldiers, more guns, more tanks, more drones, more rockets on the other side. That is not a war, that is suicide. Syrsky even listed the battle zones where Ukraine is hanging by a thread. Those are Limansky, Dobropolsky, Pokrovsky, and Novopavlovsky. All the most threatening in his words, which is a polite way of saying we are collapsing. But here is the catch. Even Russia does not want to keep this war going. They are ready for peace. Just accept their terms and conditions and lay down weapons. Sorry, that might sound harsh, but the truth is that Ukraine is losing on the ground. Russia is winning, and that is what matters. Now let's go back to December last year. Kyiv's own soldiers admitted they were shattered, sleepless, haunted by Russia's 3,000 kilo glide bombs that could erase entire positions overnight. Soldiers said, "We are struggling a bit even to hold the line." And that was last year, by the way. Fast forward 8 months, things are far worse now. Ukraine soldiers do not want to fight anymore, which is why Kyiv is now bringing harsher and harsher laws against its own men. Imagine this. Kyiv parliament just drafted a law to jail soldiers for 5 to 10 years if they refuse orders. 5 to 10 years for being tired of fighting a hopeless war. And guess what happened next? Protests. Yes, Kyiv soldiers and their families are openly protesting against Zelensky's own parliament. Because the truth is that this is not about discipline, it is about fear. It is about forcing soldiers to stay in trenches when they want to desert. And desertions are the real cancer in Ukraine's army. Over the past 3 years, tens of thousands of soldiers have deserted. Tens of thousands. And the army still bleeds men every month. Now, there are not enough infantry left. You can buy HIMARS from the Americans, you can buy Leopard tanks from Germany, but you cannot buy human beings. Kyiv has run out of them. And it is not just soldiers, civilians too are finished with Zelensky's war. Gallup published a poll last month. 69%, yes, nearly 70% of Ukrainians want a peace deal with Russia ASAP. Only 24%, barely 1 in 4, want to fight until victory. Now think about that. 3 out of 4 people are screaming for peace, but Zelensky blocks their voice. He has hijacked their democracy. Why? Because war is good business. Billions are flowing in aid, weapons, and reconstruction funds. And billions are disappearing into the pockets of politicians, oligarchs, and middlemen. Peace would kill the money pipeline, so Zelensky keeps the war alive. See, this is not about democracy, not about freedom. It is about Zelensky and his mafia gang making themselves rich while Ukraine bleeds. So yes, let's say it clearly. Zelensky is not saving Ukraine. Zelensky is destroying it. He is ignoring civilians who want peace. He has become a danger to Ukraine's democracy, a danger to Ukraine's future. If Ukraine wants peace, if Ukraine wants survival, Zelensky must go. Not tomorrow, not next year, now. Only when he is removed can peace rise again. Until then, Ukraine remains hostage to a man who would love to burn his nation against losing power. Moving on, Trump has now decided it is time for Sanctions 2.0, a fresh round, bigger, louder, dumber. His new plan? Crush Russia's partners, choke Russian oil, and bully Europe into stopping imports. Sounds bold, right? Except, here is the problem. The first countries in the firing line are not enemies, they are his own friends. Hungary's Viktor Orban, Slovakia's Robert Fico, both men have been openly supportive of Trump, and now Trump is kicking them in the face. But wait, it gets even dumber. When Ukraine's army bombed Russia's Druzhba pipeline last month, the pipeline that carries oil to Hungary, Trump was furious, absolutely livid. His team dispatched a letter to Orban. It read, "Victor, I do not like hearing this. I am very angry about it. Tell Slovakia." But the comedy writes itself. Back then, Trump was angry at Ukraine for touching Hungary's oil supply. Now, he is angry at Hungary for touching Russia's oil supply. Basically, pipeline oil to Hungary, Trump happy. Ship oil to India, Trump angry. Pipeline bombed, Trump angry. Pipeline used, Trump angry. This is not diplomacy, this is clown logic, a full-time circus. You see, Modi is a villain for buying cheap Russian crude to stabilize global markets, but Orban is a hero for keeping Druzhba pipeline flowing. And now he is not. And Fico is a partner until he buys Russian barrels. And Europeans are allies until they keep secretly paying Moscow. Trump has no doctrine, no policy, just mood swings. If he wakes up grumpy, India is the enemy. If he wakes up hungry, Hungary is the enemy. The man cannot even keep his own sentences straight. Today, special partnership with Modi. Tomorrow, tariffs on India. Today, pipeline for Hungary. Tomorrow, cut oil imports. It is not geopolitics, it is slapstick comedy with nukes on the table. At this rate, the only consistent part of Trump's foreign policy is that it makes zero sense to anyone, not even Trump himself. Moving on, BRICS is on absolute fire. Every single day, new routes, new deals, new trade corridors. The West is busy holding sanctions conferences while BRICS is literally laying down railroads, ports, and pipelines. And today's big move, a mega deal between UAE and Russia. The UAE has just thrown open 64 sectors of its economy to Russian companies. Yes, 64. That is not symbolic cooperation, that is an open door invitation. It is Abu Dhabi saying directly to Washington and Brussels, your sanctions are toilet paper to us. And this is not just about trade. Both sides are tying this deal to the International North-South Transport Corridor, or the INSTC. Now, this is the project connecting Russia to Middle East or West Asia, East Africa and South Asia. Think of it as BRICS' own economic superhighway, bypassing NATO choke points, bypassing the West's control of shipping lanes, and bypassing the dollar. Now, a couple of weeks back, we saw China advancing its massive Southeast Asia to Europe economic corridor. Today, it is Russia plus UAE supercharging the INSTC. Tomorrow, India and Iran plugging in deeper. Piece by piece, the BRICS world is building its own arteries of trade and finance. This is a new map of the world being drawn right in front of our eyes. And look at the ripple effect. UAE, one of Washington's most loyal Gulf allies, is now literally gluing itself to Russia. And by extension, Iran, the same Iran which the US has spent decades demonizing. The same Iran which was supposed to be isolated. Now, BRICS is turning enemies into trade partners. This is what peace looks like in practice, not empty UN speeches. Meanwhile, the US is busy selling dreams of the so-called India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor, or the IMEC. Now, that corridor was announced with fanfare at the G20, hailed as an answer to China's Belt and Road Initiative. Where is it now? Dead on arrival. A PowerPoint fantasy, because while IMEC remains on paper, INSTC and BRICS corridors are being physically built. Ships are moving, tracks are laid, deals are signed. And just to spice it up, UAE's foreign minister was in India recently. Non-oil trade between the UAE and India, $65 billion last year, an annual increase of 20%. Now, who is isolating whom here? The Gulf is not shifting slowly, it is pivoting dramatically. And yes, Saudi Arabia is watching all of this closely. It is already flirting with BRICS. It is already selling oil in yuan. It already knows that sticking to Washington's promises is a dead end. At some point, Saudi Arabia will have no choice but to fully walk into BRICS camp. And when that happens, game over. So here is the real headline. The Middle East, once America's pocket kingdom, is now flipping one by one. Now, this is not just a regional shift, this is the collapse of Western hegemony over the world's energy heartland. BRICS is on fire and the West just smoking ashes. And that is all for now. Thank you very much for being with me. You're watching GNF.